Alright, in the last video, you saw the intro to that disappointment. Let's get back to working on this thing. Plan for today, Jake should be here in a minute. I'm gonna work on jacking this thing up, put it on jack stands. I'm gonna pull the trunk off because the trunk lid is not required, so I think that's just gonna come right on off of there. Maybe work on getting the doors wired shut. We got to still blow some holes in that side. Get the fuel system run, get the post-to-post in with the electric fuel pump and his tank and all that stuff. I would like to get this car as close to done as possible today so that it can drive out and we can bring in my backup plan whenever I figure out what my backup plan is, or I can work on trying to get a car out of the collection up here and into the garage. So let's get to work on this thing. I'll be back with you in an update right about now. All right, so we've got the Lumina up in the air a little bit. Got it up on 4 jack stands now. A little wobbly, but that's all right. I like to get them up in the air for this part. I mean, we got to cut the rest of the exhaust off. We got to get the gas tank out, all that kind of stuff. Jake brought his door bar over. That's just got a plate for bolting in. So working on flattening out the sides enough to be able to get that in there. Pulling a couple plugs, that kind of stuff. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, he actually does have, his tank does just have the pump in the tank, so I can show you the difference there once we get all that stuff installed. But my battery's starting to die, so I'm going to go in and plug that in, and then we're going to keep on working on getting this thing installed. Alright, so I wanted to break in here. Jake's got a pretty neat design here as his gas tank holder slash protector. I mean, I would say it certainly does both. As you can see, really it's a simple design that's very effective. I mean, you got one bolt that goes through both here. One will go there, and then one goes there. So you separate it, put it over the bar, clamp it back down. It's built exactly to his tank size, and we'll tighten everything down, and he's got a tank holder slash protector that can come off and go right into the next car. And he didn't have to spend a gazillion dollars to get it from a parts company. There's definitely a place for buying derby stuff, I get that, but I mean, this is something that, especially for what we're running, I mean, this is a bone stock as you can get. You're not really allowed to do a whole lot off of the tank. This will still keep it safe. I like it. Alright, so to show the difference here, as you can see, Jake brought over this protective vacuum looking thing and ran both of the fuel lines through there. Definitely a good idea if you've got something that you can run full length. But you can see how he's got his run to a factory style pump here. I'm going to show you my pump on the wall so you can see the difference. So mine, you've got a positive stud, a negative stud. You just run one to a switch that goes to a positive and run this one to a ground somewhere. It flows out this way and in that way. So you would take that feed line that's in there and you would put it right here, and then you'd run another line from here. I usually go to a filter and then to the tank. And I'll show you that too on whatever car I end up building. But for this, you can see he has a factory style fuel pump that came out of the top of a tank. So if I show you the tank that we just dropped out of this car, you can see there it is, and then it's got the wiring that's going to it. There's 2 plugs that are going to it. Now if I wanted to, I could figure out what's positive, what's negative, and we could hook that pump up to a switch same as Jake's got, but he's already figured that part out and mounted it into his tank. So he has the wiring so that he can just run one positive, one negative. The positive will go to a switch, I think, and then the negative
goes to the switch.
Negative go to a switch. Alright, that's fine too. But you can see, it just plugs it in here, and then he's able to unplug it, and then, you know, he's got everything kind of tied together so that it's a pretty nice little bundle. Just 2 wires, same as it would be on is running an inline pump. But honestly, this is probably something that I'll probably try to put together at some point, because I feel like guys that are running factory pumps get a lot better longevity out of them. My pumps suck. I mean, I've had pretty good success since I went up and started spending a little bit more money on my pumps. But either way, you can run positive to a switch, and then from the switch to the battery, or he runs a negative, which does the same idea. I mean, you're breaking the circuit, you don't get power to it anymore. So you can see he's got switch there. We're going to continue getting wired up, and we'll call this video good here in just a bit. But really, guys, moving a fuel system is not that hard to do. If you don't want to make your own tank, you can watch the video that I do that shows running an inline pump. But if you want to take that little bit of time, using the one out of the car, you're never going to go wrong. Especially on newer cars that have a returnless fuel system. If it doesn't have 2 lines, guys, that's the reason that Prism's been sitting here built for so long, because I need a Prism fuel pump to be able to get that thing to run where I'm confident that I'm going to be able to wreck it. So, I think that's actually going to be about good. We're a ways into this one, and I've broken this one up into a couple pieces, so we'll get you another update here on the car. Like I said, I'm going to be out here working all day yet, so hopefully we'll get you another update here in just a moment. Appreciate you following along as always. Here goes.